What's up, and welcome to my yearly Inktober video. I did it last year during Inktober 2019, and I had a lot of fun, so I decided to do it again this year. So for those who don't know, Inktober is a month-long drawing challenge in which you are given a prompt list at the beginning of the month, and you have to draw something for each prompt during the month of October. The goal is to be consistent and to share your artwork. So you can post something every day, you could post it once a week, every couple of days. It really is up to you, but the goal is to be consistent and to share your art and to really challenge yourself. And ideally to post ink drawings. I also gave myself the additional challenge this year of only spending 5 to 30 minutes per drawing. I spent like 6 hours on one of them last year, and it was just way too much. I need to manage my time better, so I ended up giving myself a time limit. So that was the additional challenge, and also if you want to see each drawing in HD, I've posted my DeviantArt link in the void. This video is essentially an explanation video in which I talk about my art and my drawings for each prompt. So yeah, that's what this is. So now I'm gonna explain each of my drawings and what they mean and the significance behind them. So for this one, I decided I wanted to do a kind of fantasy looking fish creature. I mean, I figured, okay, what is on a fish? A fish has a skull and it has a spine, I guess. I don't know anything about fish anatomy, and I just kind of guessed at what a fantasy fish skeleton might look like. So that's kind of my interpretation of a fish. For Wisp, I don't know how to describe a wisp, because there's a lot of different options you could do, like a wisp of hair, a will-o'-the-wisp. A wisp has this kind of like dynamic feel to it in terms of like a word, and so I just kind of went with a really abstract design I imagine a wispy shape would look like. Okay, so I did not get COVID-19, but I was definitely part of the crowd that gained the COVID-19. Basically, this is just me saying I'm a fucking fat ass now because I was cooped up inside and didn't exercise and was not eating well, so now I'm a fat ass, and so I drew a self-portrait of what I look like. My favorite detail on this is actually the fact that I wrote yikes on the scale, because that's definitely how it feels. That's bulky, because I feel bulky now. This is actually a bit of a shout out to myself because I am a physics minor, and so I had to study waves. It's my least favorite unit, but it's the first thing that came to mind was radio waves. Radio waves have the longest waves on the spectrum. Radio waves are actually kind of cool in terms of space exploration and like space imagery, because radio waves can get through a lot of things that smaller waves can't, like through dust, for example, in space, where other smaller waves would maybe, bounce off of dust particles, like dust clouds and stuff. Radio waves can get through it, and so you can see really, really far. So that's pretty cool. For this one, I just got kind of creative with it. I really wanted to do a cool pattern thing. I've done patterns and blades in the past for my Inktober 2019. And so for this one, you could almost interpret it as kind of being, trapped in a way. Kind of reminds me of a jail now that I think of it. But yeah, I just wanted to do something cool with the blade pattern. This is one of my favorite drawings. It took so long to do, but it was totally worth it. These are my boys, Chestnut and Pringle. I love them so much. Chestnut's on the left, Pringle's on the right. I basically redrew a picture from when they were younger. I caught a picture of them together and they look so cute. So yeah, that's Chestnut and Pringle. I love them very much, and I'm very happy to have them. This document certifies that blank has satisfactorily completed the required course of study at the apothecary and has the license to practice medicine as a plague doctor. So I've decided to become a plague doctor, And, you know, I was looking up plague doctors and stuff like that. And it turns out a lot of them just straight up just didn't have any medical, you know, training or anything. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do a really cool certificate. It's fancy. You know, if you're a plague doctor with a medical certificate, you're fancy. These are actually bull shark teeth. Bull sharks are my favorite shark. Probably my favorite marine animal, actually. Bull sharks are just really cool sharks to me. I like the fact that they can swim in both seawater and freshwater. I think that's really interesting. There's a really good episode of it on river monsters. But basically, I impulse purchased some shark teeth earlier this year, and from a reputable source. Don't worry, they're not like fished for it. They're taken up from the seafloor because sharks lose their teeth very frequently. And yeah, so I got some teeth, and so I wanted to draw them because they look really cool. For this one, I went for a more abstract look. I wanted to give my hand like more simplistic designs, and so I was like, throw up. I think it came out really interesting. I like how abstract the human looks in this drawing. And another thing is that I actually didn't do any pencil drawing under this. This is straight ink, and I'm actually very proud of this. This one I am extremely proud of. This actually doubles as fan art because I'm going to send it to Moist Critical or Penguin Zero or Charlie, however you want to call him. I'm going to send it to Charlie's P.O. box, and this is kind of a modern David versus Goliath. Basically, he has this video where he did a Karen tier list, and this is a Walmart Karen. She was an S tier Karen for him. And then I went and found a video of him like flinging around fleshlights, and then just kind of combine them together. So I have a Where is the Manager, and he is fighting here with a fleshlight. I actually colored it pink, the fleshlight pink, for him I'm gonna send him a color version of it. But yeah, so this is a modern David versus Goliath thing, and I thought it was just really cool looking. I think it's kind of sad, but a lot of people think of themselves and their appearance as disgusting. I've definitely been like that and definitely feel like that sometimes. So I just kind of drew the eyes, looking at your reflection and crossing out the eyes and being like, this is not what I want to look like. I look gross. This is something that I actually struggle with a lot, is things being like overdue. Like if you miss one paper, then it's really easy to just kind of go down this slippery slope of everything being overdue. And so then, you know, you have one essay that's overdue, and then you don't do it and you fall behind, and then a second essay ends up being overdue, and then a third, and then a fourth, and then it just snowballs, and then before you know it, you have like 5 assignments that have been due for months and you haven't done them. And it's very slippery slope for me, and it's something that I have to work on getting better at. This is titties, and I drew also, you know, the nether regions. And you can see the little pyramids of Giza kind of in the background. A few years ago, there was this AI that was trying to identify not safe for work content on the internet. And in the tests, it kept identifying and marking just pictures of dunes, like desert dunes, as being not safe for work and registering them as boobs. Instead of send nudes, send dunes. This is a picture of me in my armor. I actually discovered here that squares are very hard to draw. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Minecraft recently. I started a Minecraft playlist, which is something that I've always wanted to do, and I'm really happy that I did. I've been having a ton of fun, and so I decided to draw me in my Minecraft armor. I have never felt less inspired for something like this. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, this is just, you can tell I'm not inspired by this at all. And so I kind of drew what I imagine an Outpost looks like. I wanted to go for something very, very simplistic and kind of raw and just very simple line art. And so I drew a little outpost. You can see a little person inside. It's like a towery thing with a gate around it, and that is about as creative as I got for that one. Rockets are like one of the best Halloween candies. You can't change my mind. They're so good. It's just pure sugar, but I just find the little packet form that they come in to just be fun. And I just really like rockets, and so I want to draw rocket candy. Storm. This is actually a more positive one. Like a lot of my Inktober's I find tend to be a little depressing, but I decided to do brainstorming. I like brainstorming. I think brainstorming is fun, and so I drew a happy person just brainstorming ideas. Social media can definitely feel like a trap sometimes, and obviously there is personal responsibility. Like it is my fault that I, log on to social media for hours at a time. But, I'm the one who can just close the app. I don't have to be on there for hours. But on the other hand, there is legitimate concern, and social media can be a little bit insidious sometimes, especially when you look at things like the color blue keeps you awake, for example. There's a reason that social media apps are blue. Think of major ones like Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr. Those are all blue in their background. Or the fact that, for example, apps like TikTok, they don't show time at the top, so you don't know how long you're spending on it unless you're, actively checking an outside source. Hell, even YouTube, this app, the algorithm is designed to recommend you videos so that you will stay in their loop and keep watching YouTube for hours on end. These things can definitely feel like a trap in sometimes, and again, as I said, some of it is personal responsibility. At some point you do need to just get off the computer. But at the same time, there's a reason that these things are so addicting, and it's not 100% on the person. Part of it does fall on the social media companies being a little bit insidious. Okay, not gonna lie, I was slightly confused as to why this was here, because this was a prompt last year, but I don't know, maybe it was a mistake, but Dizzy is on it. And so I just drew somebody being spun around a million times and feeling dizzy. So this is actually a reference to Coral, which is the mom in Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo is in my top 3 favorite movies, if not my favorite movie of all time. I don't know why. It's a pretty good movie. It's not like a masterpiece in my opinion, but I don't know, for some reason I really love Finding Nemo. I love the story. I love the animation, and so I just wanted to do a little homage to that and say, hey, Finding Nemo is awesome, I really like it. And here is the mom. So I drew a clownfish, kind of. Clownfish were really hard to draw, as I learned. This is actually kind of symbolizing a lack of sleep. I don't get a lot of sleep, and so I drew somebody with bags under their eyes, and just kind of looking blankly out, into the distance, I guess. This is a little rat chef. This is a reference to Ratatouille, probably Pixar's best movie. Not my favorite. Again, Finding Nemo is my favorite. But I do recognize that Ratatouille is better in terms of story and stuff like that, and themes. So I would actually recommend that you watch Shifrilus Productions' video on it. It's a great breakdown as to why it's such a good movie. But yeah, I wanted to just draw a little chef because I did enjoy that movie. This is referring to my yeet machine, which, for those who don't know, is the name of my bong. So, when you take a rip, a fat rip on the bong, that's the reference there. It's my yeet machine, because it yeets you into fucking space if you take a rip that's a little too fat. This is a funeral. You're 6 feet down and you have to dig a hole to put a coffin or casket or whatever in it. Also, I recommend natural burials. They're the superior burial. And yeah, so you can see 3 people and a priest and a little gravedigger. This is I admit, a little bit of a crude drawing of my Minecraft dog. I absolutely love her. She's wonderful. Still haven't named her, but I'll actually put the clip here of when I found her because it's extremely wholesome, and if I'm ever sad, I just straight up go onto my own video and rewatch that part because it makes me so happy to rewatch. But yeah, this is the moment where I tamed my Minecraft dog in survival for the first time. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I have some bones, I have some bones. Please, please, please love me. Please love me, please love me, please love me. Oh my god, yes, yes, hello! Oh my god, you're so cute! I love you too! I feel like everyone, is a little sad, and so we hide our true selves, or we hide our sadness with a mask, and I feel like that can be especially true during COVID, because everyone's stressed out, and I feel like, a lot of people could be trying to hide the fact that they're stressed via a mask, especially on social media. So, yeah, I just wanted to draw. It's a little bit depressing, but I wanted to draw, somebody hiding their true emotions with a mask. This is kind of a shout out to other people, other creators on this platform, because I can guarantee every single person who uses music in their videos is gonna look up at some point royalty-free music. Dissociation refers to a dreamlike state where a person feels disconnected from their surroundings and things may seem less real than they should be. So there's 2 different major types of dissociation, and that is depersonalization, which is a sense of detachment from oneself and one's sense of identity, and derealization is when things or people seem unreal. So that can happen at the same time. You might have one or the other. Dissociation can be very mild, and so that can be something like if you're driving and then you just aren't really thinking, or and you end up you just end up at home. For example, if you're driving home, that's an example of mild dissociation that, people go through. There's also, on the other end of the spectrum, where it's clinical and it interferes in your life, like dissociative identity disorder, or people with PTSD or a variety of mental illnesses can experience dissociation when their emotions get too intense, and so they may depersonalize or derealize. I have experienced dissociation, and it can feel like you're floating, which is why I use the prompt floating to describe that kind of detachment you feel from your body when you're dissociating. This is an interpretation of Walk a Mile in My Shoes, and as you can see, these are a pair of heels in the sand or on the ground or whatever, that stops at the sign, and then these are men's shoes. And this is kind of I don't want to get political here or anything like that, but I used to be a feminist, and I feel like a lot of feminists need to learn to walk a mile in the shoes of men, because men have struggles. Everyone has struggles, and the major reason why I'm no longer a feminist is because a lot of feminists refuse to do this. So it's a bit of a call-out drawing to feminists, to be honest. But yeah, so I just wanted to do a little drawing that's kind of my own personal political journey, has been leaving feminism after I walked a mile in men's shoes and actually listened to their problems. I'm a plague doctor. I absolutely loved drawing this. I took a picture of myself and decided to do a blacked out version of it. I really enjoyed doing this drawing. It's probably my favorite drawing from the entire Inktober of this year. So it's a plague doctor, and if you are dying and you see a plague doctor, you know, back when plague doctors were a thing, you would be reasonably concerned. So it's very ominous to see a plague doctor. This is referring to negative coping mechanisms. So the little spiral on the head is meant to be representative of a bad mental state, and then the spiral kind of on the ground that the person is crawling towards is representative of also representative of negativity and not being in a great mental space and negative coping mechanisms. And you know, I feel like when you're really, really desperate, you're really beat down, you don't know what to do, and you feel like you can't stand anymore and you're just crawling around, just trying to survive, it can be really easy to crawl back to negative coping mechanisms. And I wanted to draw something representing that sentiment and that feeling. Okay, let's talk about how it went. The answer is terribly. I didn't post a single drawing during October to my DeviantArt. There was, or to any social media really. I didn't finish all of them in October. There was like 5 drawings that I ended up finishing in like November, like the 1st or the 2nd. So it was not great. I did stick to the time limit I gave myself. Some of them took less than 5 minutes. I think the Rodent one, my picture of my gerbils, took me like an hour and a half. That's the only one that I spent a significant amount of time on. So I was successful in that. I wasn't consistent and I didn't share it. So I kind of dropped the ball. But honestly, I don't feel bad because right now I'm living in the middle of a fucking pandemic. So I don't feel bad about fucking it up this year. Next year I will try to do better. And yeah, but overall I did enjoy the experience nonetheless, and I had a lot of fun. Also, if you did Inktober this year, I'd love to see it. So like, drop your DeviantArt, Tumblr, Instagram, whatever. If you did post something, I'd love to see what you did, and maybe just see your interpretations of the prompts. So yeah, that's it. That's the video. Peace.